Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Today we have memes for us again today. Um, the I don't think last week's format really worked out as well as what I had hoped for, so we'll do it a little differently again today, and we'll just kind of go from there. Getting back to how I originally did it, just doing this for fun, just trying to get some laughs out there because we all need a lot more laughs in the world today. So, um, starting off, Jim, that alien has a weapon. Captain, permission to change shirts, sir? No. So yeah, the red shirts didn't make it long. It's always amazing because you have the main cast and a couple people for the episode, and it didn't seem to last very long. I know you have a red shirt, Scotty, but I talked to Gene, and he doesn't kill his main characters, which is one of there's only two red shirts, Ahura and Scotty, that never never get off out of all the episodes. So, Ari, what do you mean you want me to, or want me on the away mission? This is a dangerous mission, and my name is in the opening credits. Send this guy. All the times that you had the main command beam down, and of course it's always the unnamed actors on the side that didn't make it. Well, one of us is going to have to change. You know, this is a later season set of uniforms and that. And I think this is when Data had taken command on his own, and I'm not 100% certain, but I think he had taken command of a Merced class starship for going after Romulans or something like that. That's what I want to say. Um, but yeah, dig three graves up there. I'll explain it to you later. Yeah, I don't know if they made it or not. I really kind of doubt it. Um, I think this is from the Manhunter episode too. I could be wrong, but there was a bunch of them that didn't make it. All right, it'll have to be a complete shutdown. We'll turn her off and effect a wipe of the Yamato log, including every subsequent event since we downloaded it. It'll be able to, or then I'll be able to reload all ship programs from protected archives in the main core. Have you tried turning it off and on again? It is simple to sit here and say, essentially, they have, I think, in a couple different episodes, whether it was for Data himself or for the Enterprise, essentially just did a turn the machine off and start it back up again, the purge whatever's in the memory core and in the active memory. It, for whatever reason, it works on computers. This is where I always laugh when we think about AI taking over the world. And I'm going to put it out in this very silly way, and it's meant to be silly, but there's a little bit of hint of a possible truth here. If we had the Terminators take over the world, you're going to have glitches going left and right. Some of them might just shut down. Some of them might, instead of say destroy all humans, it's going to be destroy all squirrels. Another one thinks that it's going to collect butterflies. God only knows where things would end up. It would be chaotic and funny to watch, I think. Don't forget this past. This used to pass for an alien. And it's funny because I mean we get to think about how much money gets spent on Star Trek today. But back in the day, when those Desilu studios, they had a very tight budget. And they did whatever they could to come up with, at the time in the 60s, because this is from back in the 60s, so this is many years ago, how do we dress something up to make it an alien? And consequently, that's why even today, so many alien beings are humanoid in form. Because it's just easy to put someone into a costume, dress them up, put makeup on, or whatever. Feeling good about this trip. Good luck, lads. Good luck. Um, yeah, we've had this same group a couple times where, it's been done as memes. Most notably, I think on the last one, it goes, I told them that they'll beam down and they'll be fine or whatever. It's one of the few times we got a whole collection of security officers, and they didn't really make it. I believe this is actually oh shoot, I don't remember the episode name, and someone's going to tell me in the comments, I'm sure. But um, there's a kind of like a lava creature or whatever that was mining through, and I can't remember what the name of it was. But then they had to beam down a bunch of security trying to capture it. Star Trek, home of the facepalm. Through all the seasons that have been out there in the movies and everything else, there's plenty of times where they've done the facepalm, trying to things happen, and we all have it. And the other nice thing is because so often, you know, it's not just the adventure in space and running and gunning. It brings home things in our own life. Worf dealing with family issues with his son, um, the the characters having to deal with other characters, lower ranked officers or whatever, or Uhura there. I think it was a mess up of some other sort, even possibly from Kirk himself or whatever. Things just happen, and it sometimes it's written in there, and everyone's supposed to be like, "Oh my god, I can't believe he just did that," and it's just those things. And it's great that we do get those episodes. You know, it's nice to see humanity being expressed in those ways. All right, inside of you are two wolves. Sorry about the transporter malfunction. You know, transporters have been used so many times for catalysts for different issues in Star Trek. It's one of those things I never tried to do in my own role playing games with the guys when we did this because I thought it was a cheap way out. I know it has been used so often. And again, to go back to one of the earlier ones here that we just had today, Gene Roddenberry had to come up with a reason why he didn't have the shuttle going down to the planet all the time. Um, so he had to use the transporter, which was an older comic book method of getting people from one place to another. So he borrowed from the comics and science fiction and all that from years before him doing it. But Star Trek really capitalized on that, and it brought in a lot of different things. And I've even seen it in arguments between Star Wars and Star Trek. Star Trek could just beam a photon torpedo inside of a Star Wars ship and destroy it or whatever. Uh, People get creative, and it's wonderful. The thought that people come up with the creativity and they use their mind to come up with other ways of doing things is just wonderful. My reaction to all the election coverage: you must think me a fool to make your lies so transparent. I try not to get into the election stuff here, and we are right here at the election. At the time that this comes out, it's just past the election, and whatever happens here. Um, Personally, this is the one of the most wonderful things about our country. I don't care if you vote for someone because you like the shoes they wear. It is your vote for your reason. It doesn't matter if I agree with it, disagree with it, think it's silly. Hey, I can admit I voted for Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck once because I didn't like the candidates. And my kids will remind me of this all the time. You vote for whoever you vote for. I just ask that you go and vote. But, if you don't, that's your right too. So, and we just go from there. Screw the Prime Directive and all the women on the planet. Yes, because in the next generation, we didn't have Captain Kirk making out with all the young ladies, so we had Will Riker. Um, and it was a huge change in how they did that. And it was a fresh take in those regards. And it was a change in dynamics in how they did the show. What if Clint Eastwood was a starship captain? I know what you're thinking. Did I fire 6 photon torpedoes or only 5? Well, to tell you the truth, in all the excitement, I kind of lost track myself. You know, we throw that out there because it comes from the Dirty Harry. I think I think he would have done okay as a science fiction captain, whether it's Star Trek, Star Wars, any other franchise out there. Because I think he's a good enough actor; he could have pulled it off. He knew his upbringing and that he's got. It surprised me because I didn't learn this until later on. He actually served in Korea. Um, so he's been around military, so like a Star Trek or Star Wars, he'd fallen fairly well. He's done some science fiction-ish um, stuff throughout the years. Um, he's pretty well versed. I think he'd be able to pull it off. I know he likes to stay with a little bit. He started off doing westerns, so for him to always harken back and continue doing that, I think it's a nice safe place for him. But I think I think he's got that ability. He could branch out if he had ever wanted to. Of course, for his age now, I don't think he needs to. But I think there's a time he could have. When someone doesn't like Star Trek. I don't think I had this one before. I think we had the same picture, but somebody else, it was something else. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's always interesting when because I like the Dungeons and Dragons and Star Wars and Star Trek and all that, and I've had people like I've never watched this or whatever, and they're afraid that I'm going to ridicule them. Like it's not for everyone. Science fiction is not for everyone. Sometimes people just like the westerns or the horror shows or the whatever. There's a genre for everyone, and like what you like. That's perfectly fine. Bones McCoy, he knows when a man is dead. I remember DeForest Kelly trying to explain one time on some documentary that because I pretty much every episode somebody dies, and he didn't, he had to come up with a new way of trying to say it. So that's how all that really came about. Klingons have ridges, but Ahura still can't have pants. Um, I put this one in here on purpose because they fought for that. Back in the 60s, the mini skirt was something that the women cast had fought for because it was considered empowering for them. And I do admit today the skirts have gotten longer and the women don't look at it the same way. And I think it's funny because this is what they fought for in the equality in Star Trek. Um, and to knock that is really kind of doing them a disservice. Uh, because you have to take everything in the time that it was done. Whether we look at it the same way or not, we really have to look at it in those regards. And that's, why I really put it in there. Because they were proud to be able to wear those uniforms that way because it was something that was new to television at the time. Um, and you got to remember, if you had a man and a woman in bed together, they had to have a leg out. They had to have a leg on each side. They could not be that close together. So this was where everything was going. So, um, we have things today where I mean, geez, they're rolling around in their underwear. So, whatever. But it's interesting how people look at it today. Tell me, Captain, of all the shirt uniforms at your disposal, why did you provide me with a red shirt? Yes, yes, we know. Um, but he didn't die. Um he was given an opportunity to create a great civilization, and unfortunately, he went back to his old ways and tried to conquer everything instead. All right, let me get this straight. Someone wears jerseys of their favorite athletes, yells at the television during games, has their team's memorabilia all over the place, and it's perfectly acceptable. However, when someone cosplays, goes to conventions, and buys stuff related to their favorite movies and TV shows, it's considered nerdy and stupid. There's a lot of truth to that. Just like growing up playing Dungeons and Dragons or Star Wars or whatever, people that would go drinking or do sport games or whatever, We're always the oddball fringe people, and I've always looked at it as, we're not doing anything different. To me, Dungeons and Dragons or D&D or Magic the Gathering is the same as my parents getting together with their friends and doing Sheep's Head or um, some other card game. Even if they were just doing a friendly hand of blackjack, poker, whatever it is, just getting around. Just really, it's so we can play the games. And when the guys come over, we'll spend 4 hours. I think 3 hours of that will be BSing and an hour of actual gameplay. Hollywood's hyper triggered response to everything means if Star Trek was, or Next Generation was made today, Data would be a bumbling, weak, comic relief character because physically and mentally superior characters played by men are unacceptable. Unfortunately, this was pointed out very much so in the Discovery, where they have a male scientist, and that is exactly how he's played. He's a bumbling idiot for a gentleman. Um, and all the female characters are all stronger, smarter, more able to do whatever than he is. Uh, and in that same video, they were talking about and the differences. You look at Barkley and how flawed of a character he is, and the actor that played him is a very good actor, and he plays those type of characters very well. I don't remember his name offhand, but he also played Murdoch in the A Team, playing a similar style character. He has a very good knack for playing those types of characters. But then you see him in those very same shows being a very upstanding person. He knows how to play off that goofiness and all that, and then he can, you know, do what needs to be done. All right. And then as we end, the moment you realize the ship they use as a time machine in Star Trek 4 was stolen from the Klingon Doc Brown. You know, Christopher Lloyd is a wonderful actor, and he could play a lot of different characters. And to think that he has done a lot of kind of goofy kind of characters, and then you see him here and he plays a Klingon. I think he plays some of the best Klingons that we had gotten up to that point. Um, Kind of really showcases where Klingons kind of are. And I think maybe I'm wrong, but I think they used the template that he had given us as to how to really be a Klingon in Star Trek. And we kind of go from there. I mean, they are, for the most part, fearless because they hope to die in glory and honor, and we go from there. So there's not much that they really fear because they figure that their their songs of their triumphs will live on in eternity in Stovacor. So with that, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for visiting. It's always wonderful having you stop by. Hope this format works a little bit better. I know I'm still dealing with computer issues, but that's all my issues. I'm just hoping to have some good-hearted fun and laughter out of this. And thank you for visiting, and we'll see you in the next video.